you emotionally or feed you with love or support, and you feel like you're just giving it all, and you're just there. Like, you know, they say it gets lonely at the top. There's all these different sayings, but sometimes you can overgive and you can be on empty, and you can be running on empty fumes, for days, weeks, months. And that is what I want to really talk about, is how can we get better at this? How can we, really stick to, time management and not, work till 6 p.m. if we can help it. What can we do different? I like telling the story when I first started in education, and I used to teach algebra 1, algebra 2, algebra 2 honors, all those classes. And I remember I was addicted to lesson planning, loved it. And I would spend hours. And the thing is, like, sometimes people are like, oh, well, you're spending hours because you don't know what you're doing. Hey, they might be a little right. But at the same time, I was in love with it. And you want teachers that really are in love with what they do. And I remember, I would come in and I would not go home until the principal would come in, and he would come in my room. He would turn off the light and he'd say, India, go home. And I was like, I've got one more problem. I've just got one more part of the section, please. One more thing. I just one more real world problem. I want to stick in there for the kids. One more vocab. He's like, go home. I don't care. Stop everything. Go home. And he was teaching me through tough love that the job is going to go on and on and on, but you are irreplaceable. And you sometimes have to go home when you have fulfilled the duty, and understand and trust that the people that you've delegated different things to, that they are competent enough to continue carrying, the job. Or you just got to get to a place where it's not so all consuming that you're losing yourself in it. And then you start dreading it. And then you just don't feel valued. You feel ran over, right? So this is what that makes me think of. 52% of people feeling burned out. And I just hope that leaders, corporate leaders, bosses, superintendents, those that are in positions to hire, those that, that they're really taking care of their people. You know, yeah, I'm sure they're great. And I'm sure if you push them a little bit more, you get a little bit more out of them, of course. And one thing I do know is that when you are set up in an environment where you feel like you're set up to win, and you feel like the people that you answer to are for you and they really want you to win, and this isn't like a gotcha situation, or you're not under a micromanager, you're not under someone that is trying to plot their way to get you out, but you're in a safe environment where you feel like you really do belong. What I've learned is that you'll do anything for people in that environment. Um, it's when you don't feel that way that work is hard, that it's tough, that you don't look forward to going into the office that day or whatever it is. And I hope that principal leaders can really vibe this thing out and think about it. We're so much bigger than tormenting those that are among us, Um, I've heard some horror stories of, different teachers and what they've had to go through, being assigned the students that, had behavioral situations taking place until those kids ran those teachers out, or, just being given so much extra to do, that they couldn't focus on the content, and, people that aren't of good spirit laughing at it, and, cheering it on as they're, running that person through the rug. I think sometimes leaders like that, you need to question the character. Why are they in the leadership position? I don't understand how certain people get in certain spots when their heart isn't right towards people. But hey, I guess it rains on the just and unjust. I guess that's just a part of life. But when you're trying to overcome and you're trying to, avoid burnout, you're going to do it better in situations where you feel like you're set up to win. And so I think that when they're giving us this advice, it's the assumption that the environment is going to be a better environment than just one that you're, just barely plowing through, right? So let's keep looking and seeing what else they have to say about work-life balance. So they say, if you feel, like we said, that work has started to take over your life, and maybe you're now emotionally empty, and maybe you are possibly apathetic, so you're just like numb now, they say they're going to talk about many tips that we can implement today to help boost our work-life balance. So What are some challenges, right? So it says you can have an excessive workload and unrealistic job demands. That's definitely something I just spoke about. You can have difficulty disconnecting from work. This is very real. Disconnecting from work during personal time, and if you are a passionate person and you love what you do, yes, it can bleed into the home, and you can have conversations with your girlfriends or your social group, whatever, about just different things instead of disconnecting it. So being able to really master that compartmentalization is key for this. Look at here. Lack of support. Lack of support from supervisors or organizational culture. What is the organizational culture of your organization? What what does the vibe say? You know, is that vibe all inclusive? When somebody shows up on scene, are they greeted with love? Is it good or is it ice cold? What is it? Something to think about. And then look, need for more flexibility in work hours or remote work options. For the bosses that really want to work with you, they're not going to be stickler about this. They're going to really do what they can to work with you. And that's very interesting. And then it says, I haven't faced significant challenges in achieving a work-life balance. So very interesting. So now they're going to talk with us more about work-life balance. So this refers to the balance between professional responsibilities and personal life activities. So that means you're going to manage your time and your resources to fulfill your job requirements while prioritizing health, fun, and family needs. And this part is imperative because sometimes we can feel like we are superwoman, superman. We've got to be the best in what we do. We've got to service everybody and leave your family behind. And I'm going to tell you, I learned from personal experience for sure. Family, should be first. There were times that, you know, I was doing my job and I felt like I was doing it well, but my mom was dying at the same time. And there were times that I had to call out to go spend some final moments with her, whether it was, hospice or, on her deathbed at the hospital. And, it's very sobering, very real. But it's in moments like that I look back and I'm like, I thank goodness that I was not so busy trying to save all students and teachers when my mom was dying that I actually took that time to prioritize. And I'm going to be honest, some of my friends and my colleagues, they had to make me do it to the point where I was like, oh, I can come and work. The next couple days are like, yeah, no, you're not going to come to work. You're going to stay out at least a week or two. I'm like, no, I got it. I promise. And, you know, then that's when your real friends kick in. Those that love you, the real colleagues, the ones that really have your best interest. Because we all know that not everybody that's smiling at you is smiling, with you, smiling for you. But that's when they really came to me and they're like, no, we're gonna make you slow this whole train down, girl. And you're gonna be a daughter. And I had to be a daughter. And I thank goodness for them, and it's just we give people maternity leave, which I'm thankful for maternity leave because it's wonderful. It definitely is a benefit. But what about a mental health day, or what about if somebody is grieving and really working with them? What can we do to accommodate? I know some schools will do sunshine state committees, things like that. Sunshine committees, like where they are like hospitality and they remember birthdays, they remember grief, they remember these things, and they really help, to support. I think that's very key as well. It says a lot about the character of the leaders of the organization when they really are intentional about remembering people's um, griefs, remembering them in the low moments, and even anniversaries. You know, birthdays and other significant milestones. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting that they said that. It's so imperative to have that work-life balance because work will go on with or without us, as we know. So it talks about here. It says now when you're out of balance, you might be approaching burnout. So being burned out is usually it's like using a tech device and never letting the battery level get above 30%. So barely working, but you know, it's taken all it has, right? And then it says, except your phone works just as well as 30% as 100%. But when you're burnt out, your 30% efforts are far less effective. And so I know that, for us, for those out there that, we have phones, I don't know about you, but I have been guilty of having too much on my phone, whether it's pictures or videos or just really cool moments. Hey, I'm raising teenagers. I got to capture every moment. And so yeah, so sometimes I'll have too much. And then I find that when my battery is low, sometimes my phone won't upload those photos, or it'll say your storage is low. Um, like you need to get more storage. And then it like glitches. It does this weird thing. Like I have to like turn the phone off and then like turn it on again to reboot it in order for it to show me my photos or things like that, because I have so much on it. Or I had to just remove, erase so many photos and things like that. And I appreciate my friends all over the nation at various conferences that have helped me with this. Or, I've had so much that my phone just can't work. It can't take pictures. It's overloaded. And I have to take pictures from other people's phones. so, so with that said, it's just like we're just like a phone sometimes, but of course we have more value. But there's only so much you can upload to yourself. There's only so much information you can take in. There's only so much you can do. After a while, you've got to delegate, and sometimes you got to walk away. And I think that, the more we do that, the better we'll be able to function, overall as leaders and as an institution, as an organization. So let's get back to it, guys. And burned out, you could feel something like this, sliding through the week, and then look at this. Let's see. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at this little girl right down here. Oh goodness. You know, that's what we want to avoid, and just looking at that, it's funny and we laugh because we could definitely relate to it. But then now I ask questions. What's going wrong? Where could we delegate so that we don't end like this? What are we doing different in maybe our sleeping patterns? Maybe we can't work out every day, at 4:30 or 5 a.m. Maybe we've got to cut some of that. Maybe we've got to, cut back on some of those assignments. Delegate maybe to 2 more people instead of just 1. Um, I don't know. It looks like there's some other things we've got to reconsider here. If this is how, and we have all been guilty. Any effective leader I know they have gone through this. And so I'm just keeping the scrolling for a minute because I want it to vibe with you. Like I want you to feel this, and I want you to start thinking, do I feel like this sometimes? Like, or can I recall a moment where I felt like this, and were there certain strategies that I was able to use to kind of help me bounce back from burnout? So that's tough, but it's real. It's very real. Many principals feel that way. Many superintendents, district leaders, organizational leaders, executive leaders, corporate leaders. There's so many of them that feel this way. And I just want to let every leader know that's watching this. It's okay to not always feel like everything's okay. And it's okay to acknowledge that burnout is there. And I would say first thing first is run to your tribe and figure out how can you get lifted up from this? Because if an organization or if a school, if the only way they can get, I guess, greater is to have you dragging like this, something's wrong. That is not the intention of getting kids by through graduation. That's not the intention of what we do every day as leaders, because you still matter as well. All right, so let's keep going. So 21 tips to achieve a true work-life balance. It says, before getting into any of these tips, here's a guide on battling burnout that could benefit you. So, okay, they've got a guide for us to see. Get unstuck and beat burnout. Okay, that's cool. And then, yeah, we could sign up for it. So first things first. So it says solo adventure day. This tip is the number one most important foundation of my self-care practice. So they're just telling their experience. So I want to read this for us because I want to read what they have to say. So for the past 7 years, I have taken one day every week where I do no work. Wow. And make no social plans. I know some people would be spinning spinning in their wheels right now if they did this. Can't Is it possible? So it says I've taken one day every week where I do no work and I make no social plans. So basically they just are a couch potato for one day. It says it's just a day to do some self-care, go on adventures, and to have fun. Sometimes I go on hikes, I go dancing at clubs, and sometimes I just lay in bed. The point is to do whatever I need to do, okay? Whatever I need to do to rebalance that day. Okay, so it says give it a shot. And then action step. Plan a solo adventure day sometime this month where you visit a new place, try a new activity, or spend the day doing what you love all by yourself. There's nothing better than sneaking off to the beach by yourself, telling no one that you're there, and just loving yourself and soaking that in. All right, next task time capsule. So it says productivity guru Brian Tracy has a tact of eating the frog. You tackle the most challenging or least enjoyable thing first, which makes the rest of the day feel more manageable and productive. I like that. So you get gritty enough to eat this frog. It says, and if you don't eat the frog, you'll find that the plate is piled up with tasks that you've been avoiding. And I kind of want to highlight that the tasks that you've been avoiding. I want to kind of highlight this where it says the tasks that you have been avoiding, because sometimes you'll feel like I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you might feel anxious, or you might feel like you're just not as passionate, like you're not as gritty about it. Your grit levels are low, right? And so it's tough. So you've got to start working on that positive self-talk and that, that self-efficacy as well. Like you can do it, you got it, we're gonna knock this out. And give myself 30 minutes to do this. Make it a game with yourself. Do things to kind of help you get the ball moving forward. Because what happens, unfortunately, is if you continue to let those things build up as well, that can also cause burnout, because then you've got so much to do, you feel overwhelmed, and now you're staying up late doing all kind of things, and it just shouldn't have ever been that way. So it's very interesting that they were talking about this with us. So let's keep reading and see what else they have to say. Feel daunting to get these draining and tedious tasks, or to get to these draining and tedious tasks, and the knowledge that they are waiting for you could be an energy drain in yourself. Action step. Okay. Write down your tasks that you dread doing. Put them in a capsule. Oh, wow. And tackle one when you're feeling particularly energetic. That is a great idea. I would say make sure that you have a certain deadline for them as well. Okay, and then here's another idea that they have for us. So they're saying another idea: co-working club. Spending a day working in the same place as friends or family who are also working can create a sense of community and share productivity, motivating, and make your work more enjoyable. So you can do this in person or in Zoom. So yeah, just having like a Zoom chat or Zoom meeting. Interesting. Digital sunset is the next one. So disconnecting from technology before, oh, wow, this is pretty good, before bedtime can improve your quality of sleep and help you better separate work from personal time. Discovering from the internet, media, and technology is also restorative, even if for a short time. So an action step, just set your phone to do not disturb mode or on airplane mode for the last hour of each night and the first hour of each day before work. That's interesting. This way you can't be reached, nor is there a temptation to hook back into work. Now that is a very smart way to disconnect, especially for those workaholics of us out there that, we just want to work, work, work. Sometimes you do have to disconnect. So sometimes you have to be more disciplined in your strategy. So I think that's a great strategy for us. Now let's look at the next one. All right. Hobby hour. Hobby hour. When was the last time you painted, sang, or played chess? Whatever you or whatever your go-to activity, spending time with hobbies enriches your life, it relieves your stress, and it adds a layer of fulfillment outside of work. So, action step, dedicate 1 hour this week to a hobby that you love, but you never have time for. Mine would be like playing the saxophone. Block it in your calendar like an important meeting. Okay, next, walkie talkie meetings. I like that. That's very interesting. Combining physical activity with work responsibilities can enhance mood and productivity while giving you a break from sedentary lifestyle. So, plus, studies do suggest that walking does help reduce stress and anxiety, yes, while improving memory. It says make some of your calls while taking a walk, get fresh air and exercise while also ticking off a work task. That's good. Consider setting up an exercise bike next to your desk to infuse more cardio into your workday. So, as you can see, they're giving us all of these great ideas. And the thing I'm seeing the most is that they're just basically saying, take a moment, take care of yourself, right? Um, be intentional at, setting yourself up for a goal or hobby, putting a time to it, um, doing something special for yourself. And I think that's it. When's the last time we've done something special for ourselves? That's doesn't mean we have to go to the nicest, you know, restaurant and wine and dine ourselves, but what have we done, to really um, just chalk it off as I've done something special for myself, and I would aim to do it at least once a month, if not, sooner than that, doing what you can. So I thought that was very interesting that they spoke to us about that. And now I want to get into another thing I saw on LinkedIn. Gotta love LinkedIn. So it was talking to us about, it says, grit and resilience, how to keep going when you feel like quitting. Okay. And this is by, I think it's Ramya. And so they're talking here and they're saying, my earliest lesson in life, or my earliest lesson in failure and things not working out as planned, despite efforts, came when I was 12 years old. I had always been in the class and school topper throughout my primary school, right? Right. So she's just saying how she was a rock star here. Awesome. And then she's talking about when I was topping the school's internal exams, the teachers were all predicting my surefire entry into the country's highly ranked schools. When the results came, it did not secure me to those top schools. In fact, I was nowhere at the top, but my results were in the middle, shocking everyone, including myself. So now she's talking about rejection. So that was her first setback, and then having another series of rejections, right? Which only strengthened her resolve to persevere against all odds and to remain tenacious. And that's what makes her now talk about grit. And I'm proud of her for not accepting no as the final answer, but to find out where the yes is. We all have to find out where the yes is in our life, right? So here she's talking about the Queen, Dr. Duckworth, in her book on grit, having the passion and perseverance to stick to long-term goals. Now she's going to talk to us about some takeaways about how it helped her build her grit and resilience. So she says, for one, you don't have to be alone in your journey. Build up a support network, right? You got to have your tribe, your people that you can call when the stage lights are off and you are human and you are in error even at times. We all have those moments. Yes, we do. Number two, it says believe in yourself. So when after adversities keep hitting you, you get back up because you choose to believe in yourself. That inner voice nudges you to forge forward. Every one of us have a purpose. Every one of us deserves to thrive and to win. And therefore, when life is beating you up, you've got to learn to get back up, because the fact that you are still here means you still have purpose. You still have things to do. You still have someone to touch, someone to help. So you've got to get up. So look, she says, never stop believing in yourself, no matter how challenging and daunting things can be. Number three, make time for yourself. Too many times we tend to make time for others and cheering them on, right? And being there for them, which is great. But do we do it for ourselves? So she says, take the time to work towards your short-term and long-term goals, and then take that time to take care of your physical health. Yes. And take time to connect with yourself emotionally and spiritually. Okay, now her next two. Know that not everything has to be within your control. Very true. And accept things the way they are. I think, yeah, you can't control it all, so don't drive yourself crazy and staying up and sleepless nights because of things that you're worried about. Just accept it and know that the Almighty has a way of working it all out. And then here it says number 5, never be afraid to try and come out of your comfort zone. Life is boring in the safe spot. We've got to come out of our comfort zone. And it talks about how doing that often comes from self motivation. So that's that. Yeah, building your inner self, and that comes from self efficacy, that comes from confidence, that comes from just, having that positive self talk to know that there's so much more out there. And like she says here, um, don't be closed to new opportunities. Be willing to learn those new opportunities because you'll find out your true purpose. That helps you with motivation. So she says, as Winston Churchill mentioned, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that matters. Powerful. So, with that said, I hope that you guys are able to take something from this as far as your own life and how you can have grit over burnout, how you can continue to move forward and have that balance. And to know that it's okay to not have it all together. It's okay to, have moments where you need other people. It's okay to, turn the phone off and not answer those emails. It's okay. It's okay to pause. It's okay to be you. And so, with that said, thanks so much for joining me on the show. I hope that you're able to take this with you throughout the year and to apply some of those principles. But with that said, I want to make some announcements and then we're going to wrap it up. So, first things first, the Grit and Equity Talks podcast will be featured on X Factor EDU with Dr. Matthew Joseph, and it can be found on Spotify and social media outlets. You can also follow me on social media. I'm thankful for the new subscribers. I'm thankful for the followers. And so Facebook is Miss India White, LinkedIn is The India White, Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach, Instagram's Indie238, YouTube is India White 123, and TikTok is Dr. India White. Check out the website www.india-white.com for books, blogs, and to schedule me for speaking or coaching event. There's a lot going on the website. I also wanted to remind you guys of some of the really neat places I plan on seeing you guys at. All going as planned. I'll see you guys at the Silicon Valley Conference in California. NCSM, I'm excited to be there. I'm excited to be at NCTM. Excited about ICTM, excited about OCTM and ATM&E and so many other conferences. And if you have not seen yours up here and you're like, hey, let's throw India in there. Hey, come on, let's do it. I'm here for you. I really do want to continue to go out here and meet you guys and to talk about what really matters. It's just bridging the gap and making sure that we're balanced and, that we're taking care of ourselves while we're doing this. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me and for always making room. And then, of course, check out the Grit Mini Workshop for those teachers, department heads, and you're looking for some PD to implement. That's a perfect opportunity for you. And yeah, so with that said, guys, you guys have been fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me on the Grit and Equity Talks podcast. And until next time, stay gritty. See ya.